Howdy, nerds. I have some horror comics and horror magazines to show you. I had meant to do this well before Halloween, but here we are. I messed up, and if you think I ever don't mess up, then you can ask my teenage daughters, and they'll assure you that I do all the time. So we'll just get over it, and we'll just have a little horror after Halloween, and it'll be just fine. All right, you saw this in the intro. Isn't this great? This is Monsters Unleashed. I think it's issue number 1, right? I got to tell you, I love magazine style comics, particularly when you've been collecting for a long time. You're looking for a way to diversify and differentiate. You've got all the keys and of the regular size comics, and so I've been kind of getting into the magazine size a little more, and just look at that artwork. It's got such a throwback feel to it. I just love it. You don't see stuff like that as much anymore. Speaking of throwback, we're going to go straight to something that was pre-Comics Code. Now, most folks know the Comics Code that came into effect in the 50s. Frankly, the Comics Code was around for a good reason. These comics, in particular, they got pretty grisly. Particularly in that time in America's history when we actually still cared about our kids and took concern about what they were consuming media-wise. These got terribly graphic and grisly, and they kept pushing the envelope, and there was a big brouhaha over that, and they established the Comics Code. Now, pre-code horror comics, as a result, are super desirable and collectible. So understandably, folks want to get those pre-code horror comics, and this is a pre-code comic. Horror comics back in the day were also pretty fun. You can see the Boris Karloff. Marvel in the 70s, man, they just did good stuff in the 70s. They were heavy into genre stuff like horror, kung fu, western, that sort of thing. Tomb of Dracula being the most well-known, and we're going to look at several of these covers, and you can just see just great covers, frankly. Here's Tomb of Dracula 48, Tomb of Dracula 58, and there is Blade on the cover, and can't wait for that movie. Now this, I'm not sure where this is. Sometimes horror comics were just a little sci-fi, weird, kind of suspenseful mystery sort of things. Phantom Stranger was popular from DC, and you can see here number 19, and I think that's the previous number 18. Yes, it is number 18. So those were fun comics as well. I swear, I think these covers... Let's see. Maybe I'm mistaken. If you know who these covers belong to, put it in the comments. Maybe I'm making something up in my head. The Witching Hour was another popular series around this time, and I just love this one. She's going down to see what happened to her kitty Muffin. I don't think it's going to go well for her. Moon Knight, not technically a horror comic, obviously, but it was suspenseful and kind of had that thriller noir feel to it. Particularly during that early run, it was really good. Werewolf by Night. If you have not seen the Marvel Disney Plus Werewolf by Night special, it is excellent. It is so good. It's flying under the radar, which is quite a shame because it comes in at like 50 minutes, the full story. And it's just entertaining. It's good. It does a great job. I hope they release a new Halloween special every Halloween on Disney Plus. It was really, really good. So here's some more Werewolf by Night. We'll go through these a little quickly. Number 26, number 42. I could have put them in order for you, but evidently I couldn't be bothered. Tomb of Dracula number 4. I love this cover, how she transforms there. Tomb of Dracula 29. Number 42, there's another look at Blade on the cover. Number 53 is more Blade on the cover. Again, I love these old horror comics. These are from the Tomb of Dracula, Man-Thing, that sort of thing, or from the 70s. These are approved by the Comics Code. Here's Man-Thing, number 7. Again, I can't recommend the Disney Plus Werewolf by Night show more. There's number 8. Well, looky. I guess I'll be selling that when I have doubles. Here is number 12, number 15, and the best titled comic book in all of comic history, Giant Size Man-Thing. We will not do any jokes, but let's just say I have a full collection of the Giant Size Man-Thing comics. Number 23, that's just a great cover. It has that throwback feel again. It's just really good. Here's number 70. I think that was right as the 70s were ending. And again, back to the Witching Hour. This was from DC, but that was a fun comic as well. You know, I don't know. I started collecting comics in 1980 when I got Spider-Man number 200 off a spinner rack. And so the 70s, I've gone back. And so I don't remember these as a kid. And I haven't gone back and got all the Witching Hour or read all of those because the Marvel, it's a little easier. I can read on Marvel Unlimited if I have gaps. Now these are reprints. Now the reason is remember the Comics Code. I had mentioned pre-Comics Code were super desirable, valuable. They're scarce, they're rare, but they did these reprints and they are popular as well. And even these reprints have a little bit of value to them. And again, I mentioned I love the magazines. We started out with a magazine and we're going to end with a couple magazines. This is Creepy. I think this is the last issue of Creepy, if I'm not mistaken. And again, Eerie is a horror magazine, but you see how this one from 1981, I mean, if that's not a direct lift from Star Wars. I mean, look, you have your Darth Vader type figure, and then here's your C-3PO and your Buck Rogers. But Eerie and Creepy were great magazines. All right, I'm sorry I didn't get that to you before Halloween. That would have been fun, but you know, we can look at horror magazines all year long. It's fine. And so these are just a few of the horror genre comics I have picked up lately when I buy collections or whatever. And again, I'm kind of going backwards and collecting those, getting into the magazines a little bit more. I've been putting a few of my doubles in my antique booth. And they're popular. They sell quickly, and I think it's just because there is this throwback feel to this. And again, if you have that pre-code horror, they got pretty rough. It was at the time it was entirely understandable why the Comics Code came into being, and those are very, very collectible and pricey. But then you have these great ones from the 60s and 70s where there was some really great stories, great artwork, great covers in particular from those titles, and some characters that are living on today. And so again, I can't recommend enough the Disney Plus show Werewolf by Night, and for that character and some of these characters, I think we're going to see more of these in the MCU. So hope you enjoy this. I got some, if you're not into this, I got some D&D stuff coming. I got some Big Three Avengers, Iron Man, Cap, and Thor coming as well. So if you like that, subscribe and hang in there, and we'll look at some other cool stuff together. All right, you take care, nerds.